With last year's deer season fresh in our minds, we are all eager to get out there into the woods and start improving the habitat. Maybe you notice that the deer on your property do not come out of the woods until well after shooting light is gone. Or maybe rut activity was just nowhere to be found on your property. And so we have these goals in mind. We need to increase daytime deer activity and then to make our properties the rut palace. And so we get out there and we get after it. But what are you actually doing to reach these goals? And if you watch a lot of hunting shows, and that's TV or YouTube, you may think you know what to do. And so you get out there and you try to emulate some of the stuff that they're doing. And what you find out is that you're actually spinning your wheels, or you could even be making the problem worse. So in this video, we're going to go over 3 big habitat management time wasters so you can make sure that you are spending your time, your hard-earned money, and all your effort on things that are actually going to improve the property and not make your hunting worse. But as always, if this is your first time on my channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and make sure you click the bell icon so you can be notified every time I upload a video. And the first big habitat management time waster is you are spending all of your time on your food plots. All the hunting shows, even a lot of the more popular YouTube ones, have these big green fields of soybeans and clover and brassicas and all the most popular food plot varieties. And it makes you think that you absolutely have to have these in order to be successful. And they're not completely wrong. Food plots, or good food plots anyway, are great at attracting deer to your property. I think of them as food plots are not habitat management, they're hunting management. They're there to try to increase your chances of seeing deer during the hunting season. But just because you have good food plots, that does not mean that these deer are going to be out there during daytime hours. And so if you're only seeing deer using this food plot at night, or it is all gone before the hunting season has even started, your work is not in that food plot. You don't need to be expanding it to try to provide more food plot forage. The work you need to do is actually in the woods. And like I said, by doing the work in the woods, that does not mean removing them so you can plant more food plots. What I mean is you need to thin the timber, you need to remove invasive species, you need to cut down encroaching cedars, and you need to burn the understory if you are able. So what all this work is going to do is it's not only going to increase the forage available for deer, it will also improve or provide what your property is most likely desperately lacking. Increasing the cover quality by opening up the canopy, letting sunlight hit the ground, increasing native grasses and forbs and shrubs will make deer more comfortable moving around on your property during daylight hours. And it may actually help to take some of the pressure off of your perfectly manicured food plots so you can have some of that expensive forage available to hunt over next deer season. And the second big habitat management time waster is you're spending a lot of your time doing the things that aren't helping the habitat. Now it may sound like I just repeated myself because I don't think food plots really help the habitat, but food plots are different because they do provide good forage if they're done correctly for most of the year. What these things are the things that do no benefit at all to the deer population, or they are not as important as you are led to believe. Most likely these are the things they're more hunting related projects, or they are things you don't even need to provide where you are. Spending all your time putting out mock scrapes and mineral blocks and horizontal rubs and feeding stations and all that is not going to help you as much as you're led to believe. And that does not mean that mock scrapes and mineral sites do not have their place, because they absolutely do, but those are hunting related projects. I use mock scrapes as a way to get deer to stop, but I only put them in places that deer are going to be traveling anyways. And mineral blocks, they're not things that are going to help you grow bigger deer. Deer are able to get the nutrients that they need from their forage. What they're used for is to get deer to stop in front of my cell camera so I can get good pictures, or to get them to go to a specific spot in my food plot. But again, the buck has to be using the area already for your mock scrapes and your mineral sites to become effective for your hunting season. And I'm going to sound like a broken record, But the best thing for you to be doing is to be doing some timber stand improvement. Removing unproductive, misshapen, invasive, and undesirable trees will make your property so much better for deer and turkeys. More acorns will be provided, more food will be grown, and more cover will be provided. That's what's going to improve your hunting on your property. It's not going to be the mock scrapes and the mineral sites, because I guarantee you if that's all you do, you're going to be very frustrated. Once you get a decent amount of this stuff done, or you've done that stuff for the year, it's too hot, you don't feel like going out and cutting trees, then you can start adding this stuff as it gets closer to deer season. But you should focus on your timber stand improvement and then add these finishing touches. And the third big habitat management time waster is spending your time planting a bunch of fruit trees. Now, hopefully I don't upset too many of you, but I really feel that planting your own little orchard for hunting is a giant waste of time and money. There is much better uses for your time and your money than planting and then having to babysit a bunch of fruit trees. There is a lot more to having productive fruit trees than just sticking them in the ground and waiting. You've got to protect them. You've got to water them during times of drought. You've got to fertilize them. You've got to prune them. You've got to provide fungicides and pesticides, and you have to have the ability to know when all this stuff is required. And even after all that time and money and energy you spend trying to get them to produce fruit, it could still take a decade or more for them to drop any, or heaven forbid, they just die. Planting fruit trees for deer hunting, to me, it's one of the final things you should do in your management plan. You need to put your plan together, and that should be at the very end of it. Once you finish doing your TSI and you've removed your invasives and you've got a good burn plan going, you're on a good rotation of that, and you get on top of your herd management, because that's something that a lot of people forget. They are not harvesting enough does during the year to keep on top of their population. Once you do all that stuff, then you can start doing these finishing touches. So that was 3 habitat management time wasters. If you've got any other projects that you kind of fell for, or you see promoted that you think are big waste of time, leave that down in the comments below. Hit that like button if you like this video, share it if you found it helpful, and make sure that you are subscribed so you can stay informed.